Hey, what's up, guys? Tukey here, back again with another episode of my Carolina Hurricanes franchise mode series, the bunch of jerks that they are, right here in NHL 19. Here on, regardless. Welcome back. Feels good to be back. In this episode, we begin our second season at the helm of the club. But before we get down to business, today we have a couple of things to attend to. I want to start off, of course, we had the debate with what to do with Sebastian Aho. So we start off with Ryan Minister's comment, who mentions that RFAs cannot have no movement clauses in real life. So, of course, much like we're doing with Finland, we are having a base set of rules, but, of course, we're willing to adapt them, and it depends on how realistic we want to be on a case-by-case basis. In this instance, we could have had it so that any player would be technically capable of having a no movement or a no trade, but with the support of that comment, that's how we'll handle it. So anybody who is an RFA will not have a no movement or a no trade. That has been updated in the rules down below. So Sebastian Aho does not have a no movement clause. We are free to trade him if we were to ever want to, which I doubt that will be the case, but that is how we'll handle it from now on. If it's RFA years, we're not going to worry about it. That said, we move on to Dylan Belchior's comment. I guess it would be, I would limit it to having players receiving at least $5 million in their contract for at least 3 years. You see guys with no movement, we're getting only a few million over a year or two. So here's the thing as well with no movement clauses. As far as it being for 3 years, it's tough because if you look at, say, Joe Thornton, for example, has a 1-year contract with the Sharks, he has a no movement clause. It's a little bit different, obviously, because of how old Joe Thornton is. No disrespect to the ageless wonder, but still, you see what I mean now as far as you take a certain rule and change it up depending on, how it makes sense for the sake of this series. So again, what we're going to do, no movements and no trades are limited to players with only UFA years available. So of course, basically up until someone's, 25-ish? Depending on how long they've been signed and stuff like that. If they're an RFA, they're not affected. However, with as far as how are we doing it? 3-year minimum, I think it is still going to be a 1-year minimum as far as someone having a no movement or a no trade. You look at, say, even Thomas Vanek with Detroit, right? He signed with the express purpose there of, I'm not going anywhere, I'm staying here for the year. So if it's a UFA contract, it could be 1 year, it could be 7. RFAs not affected by no movements going forward or no trade clauses. Jeff Brown, my interpretation of depth defense is that they can play NHL or AHL, so I don't see anything wrong with playing Jake Bean in the AHL. I have adjusted the lineup to factor that in. So Dennis Seidenberg is now going to be our main depth defenseman, our healthy scratch on the team. I'm tempted to sign a forward so that we can send David Cotton down to the AHL, and I think that's exactly what I'm going to do because we actually don't have anybody on the roster right now who I'd be willing to just have sit there other than him. So I kind of agree with that ruling. The depth forwards can be guys who can play in either league, and they don't necessarily just have to sit there. As far as who we're going to look to sign here, though, Aston Reese, of course, is an RFA. I think I'd prefer to sign somebody else who is a depth guy. Of course, I can't sign Lindholm or Quine without having to play them. So it's either going to be Riley Barber, Gabriel Bourque, or Mangiapane. And I'm going to go for Mangiapane. I don't think I've ever used him in a series. So we'll sign him up for the year. And he'll be the depth forward. We'll send down David Cotton when we get the chance. That said, getting to our goal for the season. Of course, heading into this year, we failed the prior challenge. We lost too many games on Saturday. We do not have a scout in Russia this year. We have our 4 NHL scouts, our 4 AHL scouts. We have an extra scout in the W this year because we cannot assign one to Russia. So we will not have any information on Russian players. But I want to get to the 2 most thumbs up comments for what our goals should be on the year. We go to Mitchell Cook. The goal was to win 35 games. Punishment is draft a player with an unknown stat or unknown stats and potentials in the first 2 rounds. But then we also go to Bruce Lessig, I guess it would be. Goal, get Svechnikov to have a 30-goal season. Punishment, owner wants you to sign or trade for a 32-plus-year-old playmaker. I love both of these comments so much that we're going to do both of them. Why not? Why not have 2 different challenges? So the goal for this season, or should I say goals, will be to win 35 games and to have Andrei Svechnikov be a 30-goal scorer. If we fail, both punishments apply. We will draft a horrible player, essentially, or just take a shot in the dark in the first 2 rounds. And if Svechnikov does not hit 30 goals, we will trade for an aging playmaker. I think with that, we are completely caught up on what this is this year. So to recap, because I know a lot of you have been like, wow, there's just so much to remember. There's so many rules. I forgot that I sent mine a line in the contract. Oh shit, he could have been a healthy scratch. Well, Mangiapane's here too. At the very least, just remember this. If there's an RFA, we don't have to worry, or if a player is an RFA, we don't have to worry about no movement clauses and no trade clauses. So what we did with Aho in the last episode, forget about it. It doesn't matter. We re-signed him. No problem. We are not scouting Russians. Depth players can play in the AHL, and there's a lot of pressure on us this year to be successful and to have Andrei Svechnikov specifically be very successful this season. I think that pretty much covers everything. So let's get this lineup set. Mangiapane showing up as a 79. I doubt it. But he is going to be the healthy scratch. And we will have to double check the lineups. Especially too now with that rule for Svechnikov, we need to make sure he has power play time. So again, healthy scratch is now our Seidenberg and Mangiapane. Svechnikov is not on the top power play unit. We're going to change that. We're going to put him with Teravainen and Aho. And then the second power play unit's going to be Nakash with Williams Nakash. Someone else is saying how to pronounce that correctly. I've heard 3 different pronunciations, so I'm sorry. I'm going with Nakash though. And Niederreiter. Feeling pretty good about that. Hayden Fleury also has power play time. Funny enough. Now, the issue is, in terms of winning 35 games, I don't know about that. With that goaltending tandem, I don't know about that. But rules are rules, and I have to do my best to make sure that we win. So there might be a trade for a better goaltender here. I'm not sure who we would use. Now, there wasn't exactly a rule on, like, oh, okay, signing Brossois. Like, we didn't do the whole loyalty spin for him like we've been doing in the Finnish series. So technically, I could look to flip him if I wanted to, because Scott Darling's going nowhere. The only way Scott Darling moves anywhere is if we sacrifice an arm and a leg to make sure that he's on the way out. And Williams, actually, I need to make that change, too. I need to make sure that we have Svechnikov playing as much as possible. That 30-goal mark is going to be tough for him to get. He'll be playing with Jordan Stahl there. That works. And then down in the AHL, let's go best lines again, because we do have some players we need to take out. Lenny is ours. So Nick Schilke or Zach Stortini. I'm probably going to look to take out the face puncher. Sorry, Zach, but you can be a healthy scratch. We need to get Lorentz and Stelio into this lineup. So actually, both of them will be taking a seat. With all that set up, though, I think we're good to go on the start of our second season here. And I'm really excited now, actually, for these 2 challenges. So Jake Bean is in on defense. And Luke Martin and Robin Salo need to get into this lineup. So Sanguinetti's a healthy scratch. Robertson and Didier. So Redmond's out. And Ryan Graves, who we signed this year, unfortunately, I mean, it's him or Trevor Carrick, and I'm going to side with Trevor Carrick because he was initially on this team. Let's get Robin Salo in. And goaltending-wise, Nedeljkovic, and again, Callum Booth will be scratched for Ian Scott. There we go. We're looking good. Quick and easy for the most part. I mean, it's been a decent amount of starting time to this episode, but hey, you should expect that at this point from me, right? Let's do this. I'm kind of nervous. Again, 35 wins and 30 goals for Svechnikov. 2 different goals to try and hit this year. I like it. I like it a lot. I completely forgot that we signed Jordan Schrader too, but that's okay. That's what happens when you wait a couple of days. Or really, I mean, granted, I'm going to be uploading these more consistently, but that's what happens when it's a couple of days between episodes. Good stuff overall, as we do win our first game of the season against Washington. Oof, we're off to a hot start, 3-0 on the year. The Bruins also fall. We're looking pretty good. We do pick up our first loss of the season. It is in overtime to the Philadelphia Flyers. We play Montreal next, but 4-0-1 through our first 5 Feeling pretty good about that. The Habs fall as well. We're just 30 wins away. Janne Kuokkanen will take out of the lineup, of course. We win again. Yes, please, we win again. What a start to the year. We finally lose our first game in regulation to Edmonton. What a tremendous run of form to begin this season. Absolutely tremendous. As I do need to double check here, I'm not sure who to take out of this lineup. That's actually a tough call because Kuokkanen needs to get back in. So we're going to have somebody be scratched who probably isn't preferable. Steven Lorenz is high AHL top 6. He is the lowest potential player on the team. So Lorenz, I am sorry. I think we let go of him though too, right? He's on an AHL deal at this point, if I'm not mistaken. God, yeah, screw it. Kuokkanen, I'm sorry, but you're going in on the 4th line. Because I don't want to sit here and have to edit this all the time. So there you go. At least you're back in the lineup. We'll swap him out quickly with Jordan Schrader. That works. Because I don't mind having Schrader on the 4th line. Svechnikov. Ooh. Oh, boy. I don't know if he's going to get the goals we need him to. That's a rough one. Again, having to then acquire an aging playmaker to try and bump up the point totals. That could hurt. Jordan Martinook, what's up? You are doing very well, sir. What are your... I don't even know what your point totals are. What are your point... I can't see them from here. So I'm just going to trust that you're doing well, Mr. Martinook. God, what type of personality do you have? I've seen better. A lot of work to be proud of. He's not going to like the calming approach. I expect more from you. Yeah, you damn right you like the assertive tone. You like a challenge. Can we beat Ottawa? We do. So 8-1-1 through the opening month. The Charlotte Checkers, by the way, at 7-0-2. A very good start through the opening month of the season. I have my doubts over Svechnikov hitting 30 goals. But in terms of the wins, in terms of potentially being a playoff team this year, if we keep it up, we're looking okay as we start off with 2 wins to begin the month of November, make it 3 in a row. Good stuff. 11-1-1. We do lose our 2nd game in regulation this season to New Jersey. And then we get crushed by Calgary and Nashville. 3 straight losses, but we bounce back with a win, 5-1 over Chicago before losing to Dallas. So 12-5-1 on the year. We do crush Ottawa. We beat Colorado as well. Florida, boy, we are a streaky team, aren't we? Can we beat Philadelphia? We only have 3 games left this month. As Walmark goes down to injury, he won't be out for long, so we'll just have Mangiapane step in. 8-0 win over the Flyers before losing 5-4 in overtime to the Rangers. We finish up the month against the Islanders. That's a 2-1 win. Your Carolina Hurricanes, 5-2, I believe it was. An unbelievable start to the season. Svechnikov's on 10 goals. This might happen. You guys thought, hey, these are tough challenges. So did I, in fairness. Look at us now. Ooh, Mangiapane's only a 72. That's rough. Let's get Walmark back into the lineup. Still, it's okay to have somebody, kind of that bad as that healthy scratch. It's all good. Good stuff. Svechnikov doing well. Nekosh with 12 points, 14 for Williams. Let's see. Aho, 12 goals. Of course, making $6.5 million over the next 4 years. But we're doing well. Even that 4th line's doing pretty damn good. How's the goaltending? This game sucks. It's so broken. Now, I know Brossois is doing really well in real life, but Jesus Christ. Like, did he inject himself with prime Brodeur and Hasek DNA? Oh my God, even Darling has 6 wins and 7 appearances. A .940 save percentage for Laurent Brossois. Holy shit. That is the greatest thing I have ever seen. Mangiapane scored, by the way. Wow. That is absolutely phenomenal. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. I don't think we have to change anything yet, right? We'll see. The levee's going to break. we're going to face a free fall in one of these upcoming months as Alexi Sorella goes down for about a week. Actually, a week on the dot. We are absolutely going to plummet back down to reality at some point. Call us the Buffalo Sabres right now. It's going to happen. I am not trading Jack Drury. No, thank you. But yeah, there's no way this keeps up. Although we have hit 20 wins, we only have to win 15 more games this season to hit that first goal and to not have to essentially waste a draft pick, which is pretty nice. We will take out Mangiapane. Well done, Andrew, making the most of your opportunity. And we will add in Sorella. I did not change the position types, by the way. I probably should have, and I normally will, just to make sure, okay, lefties are on the left. For the sake, of course, of the 4-on-4 lines, as we are still just killing it. We finally lose our first game in regulation. Crazy. 5-1-1, make that 5-2-1 in the month of December thus far. We beat Detroit before losing to Tampa. Thank God we don't have to factor in Saturday night games. 2 second-round picks for Alex Chason. No, thank you. I don't really want to make any trades right now. I think we're good. The Charlotte Checkers, by the way, have won 23 goddamn games. The organization from top to bottom is killing it, although we did lose in back-to-back weekends against Tampa. But as of January 1st, 25-9-3. We are 10 wins away from accomplishing our goal for the season. We are in first place in the Metro as we approach the halfway point of the year. The big question is whether or not we can get Svechnikov up to 30 goals, which I feel like is incredibly rare. Now, I do want to point out as well, there was another comment from the Goggle Man who said, hurricane season in the Atlantic area is approximately from June 1st to November 30th. The goal is to have a positive record from the start of the year until the last game in November. I think we hit that one too. I think we hit that one too. I was just looking over because I have that tab open for the comment section. I just noticed that one. We hit that too, so don't worry. Technically, we had 3 goals for the year. We've already accomplished the first. Again, the point of the goals is to okay, if we succeed, cool. No punishment. Some people are saying, well, there should be a reward for achieving the goal. I'm just not sure what they would be, though, because the second you allow me to be okay, well, you can do this, you can get an extra draft pick, then, we're opening up territory for me to potentially cheese the system. Now, granted, technically, we had 3 goals this season if we include that comment from the Goggle Man, which also had a decent amount of thumbs up. Let me know what you think, though. I'm cool with not having a reward. Again, I stated that from the very beginning. But technically, we've already hit 1 out of our 3 goals. We are well on our way to hitting at least 2 out of 3 on the season. How good is Svechnikov doing? He's going to have to bump up that pace a little bit, but I have faith he can do this. We might, I'm not allowed. Ooh, Nino's only top 2. Oh, never mind. We can bump up Svechnikov. We're doing that right now. Maybe I should have done that earlier. Yeah, Andrei Svechnikov's going to the top line, no doubt. I'm going to move him over to the right wing. He'll play with Teravainen and Aho. I might have screwed Svechnikov out of getting the point totals that he honestly could have. I feel a little bit bad about bumping down Nino because he's been doing very well this year, and this could disrupt the offensive rhythm that this team has had. But we're going to hit 35 wins. We had an amazing start to the season. Now it's just a matter of, can we keep it up? And will Svechnikov hit those, hit the 30-goal mark? I don't know if he will. Let's sim through January. Again, I don't really see the need to make any changes yet. We'll pay attention closer to deadline day as far as what other... Oh my God, that had to have been a darling game as we get crushed 10-0. The hands of the Minnesota Wild. Good Lord. No, I'm changing back. Ooh, 4 straight losses. Stop it. EA, damn it. Nino's going right back up to that top line. The second I started tinkering with something, bam, 4-game losing streak. So I really don't want to have to acquire an aging playmaker, but we'll do what we have to do. Svechnikov right back down to the second line. You still have power play time. Let's see if we can get some momentum back. Now, is that because I tinkered with the lineup, or again was that cliff that we were always going to drive off of? Our luck was eventually going to run out. Is that the reason that happened? I don't know, but we are on a 5-game losing streak. We have lost 6 out of our last 7, I do believe. We did pick up a win there, though, as David Cotton is back to 100%. I'm glad I saw that last comment, though. It's been an unbelievable start to the season. I don't think anyone's complaining on that front, as Steven Lorentz needs to take a seat for David Cotton, who's up to a 78. Not bad. Is listed as a fourth liner. There was talks, though, over whether or not if someone jumps up during the course of the season, if I have to make a move. What do you guys think about that? I mean, or is it just okay? As long as the roster is set at the start of the year, it's okay. Because, of course, players will develop throughout the year. So we beat the Rangers 7-0 before losing 7-1 to Colorado. We have finally crashed back down to reality here. We're definitely going to hit 35 wins, though. So in terms of having to draft an unknown player, that's not going to happen. I do not want Richard Panik to leave me alone. That's not going to happen, right? We're going to win 6 more games throughout the rest of the season. There's no doubt about that. It's just whether or not Svechnikov can hit 30 goals, but that is a punishing punishment to have to get one of those veterans. 29 wins, so we're 6 wins away. 29, 18, and 3. Again, we finally started to settle back down. We knew that was coming. We are still in a playoff spot, although Philly is way up there ahead of us now. I guess the question is, as we approach the trade deadline, what could we look to change? Svechnikov is on 16 goals. Oh, boy. You know what? I got to get him back on the top line. I have to. The problem is, Aho is the real goal scorer there, but I have to get Svechnikov back onto the top line. It has to work with him there. Nekash is up to an 83. Not too bad. And then defensively, we're still looking pretty good. Goaltending-wise, Brossois still at a 929, Darling at a 911. As, by the way, injuries, very few this season, especially at the NHL level. Let me know if you think that's a bit too low, or if it's just about right. But let me know if you think we butchered the trade slide, or the the injury slider, just a little bit too much. Again, I talked about that at the beginning of the last episode. In prior series, I, agreed, like, oh yeah, it does something. But then I get told from EA, no, it's just the way it's tuned. So it's like, okay, here, what about this then? Here's some evidence. Tell me what's going on as I continue to try and take advantage of my position as an EA game changer to just figure out how the hell this game is programmed. But anyway, we continue on. We're through the month of February. We start off with a 3-2 overtime loss to the Buffalo Sabres, but a pity point is always welcome. We shut out Anaheim 3-0. Carl Gunnarsson is on waivers. I'm going to say no. I think we're okay because we have Seidenberg. Basically, he could be a better Seidenberg. But if anybody gets injured long-term, Jake Bean's going to be the guy to take that spot in the lineup, not Seidenberg. So I'm feeling okay about that. Okay. Calvin DeHaan and a 4th for Tyler Toffoli. That works out value-wise? Really? Holy shit. So DeHaan this year, 7 points and a +9. Has 3 years left at 4.5. Jesus. And then Toffoli has 37 points on the year. Not bad. The issue is I don't think we can fit him into the top 6. I don't think we can. Whitfield, by the way, is a 79 overall confirmed, but we're not going to sign him yet. I'm at least going to save 1 year on the ELC by waiting the entire season. But if we look here, technically I could get Toffoli and send Nekash down to the 3rd line, and then I would have to trade like a Martinuk or a Walmark at that point. But I mean, technically we could bring in Tyler Toffoli. I just don't know if I want to disrupt the defensive flow that we have going on right now. Adam Fox could step up. Jake Bean could step up. I think the issue for me is that if we fail this Svechnikov challenge, we're not going to have space for Tyler Toffoli because we're going to have to bring in a playmaker. That's the only thing I can think right now. I would love to bring in Tyler Toffoli to improve this team's chances, but I can't help but think it would be a mistake. Like, I really do think it would be a mistake. Not to mention, I mean, I'm going to have to make a trade at some point anyway because we have to get rid of that extra 2nd-round pick. I'm not allowed to make it. And if I hold on to it until the draft and then trade down, that counts as my 1 trade down. So I want to get rid of that 2nd-rounder, before the end of the deadline. But it's just whether or not getting Toffoli makes sense, and it does. It absolutely does. He'd be a great rental. But knowing that Svechnikov, who is up to an 84, by the way, he has 17 goals. It's going to be really close to see if he gets there, too. It really is. But if I look at this team, Aho, Teravainen, Svechnikov, Niederreiter, Nakash, Williams is technically a top 6 guy. I would have to bump down Nakash for the year, which is fine. Man, that's a really tough call. That is a really tough call. And then technically, Tavo would have to go down to second-line center because we wouldn't have anybody else to play the role. So it would be Svechnikov, Aho, and then Toffoli, Niederreiter, Teravainen, and Williams. And then third-line Nakash with probably Stahl and Martinuk. I'm going to say no. I think that's a decent price for Tyler Toffoli, but I don't want to do it. I want to play it safe, which is more thought than I think a lot of people put into their trades in this game, but I don't like it. And in fairness, oh man, but they're interested in Martinuk. Oh man, this could happen without me giving up Calvin DeHaan. I could give up Jordan Martinuk directly. But he does have, 11 goals on the year? He's done okay. Walmark has 10 points. Man, this is tough. Because I could use Walmark and then trade that second and get something back. Essentially trade up. I don't even know if I'd be able to get like a first, but I'm going to say no for now. I think it makes a lot of sense, but I'm a little bit hesitant to make that move. Richard Panik, no thank you. I'm a little bit hesitant to make that move because of another potential move that looms overhead. I don't want Toby Reeder. If we fail this challenge, if Svechnikov does not hit 30 goals, then in terms of bringing in an aging playmaker, I mean, that person you would assume is going to take a middle 6 spot anyway. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and I got to be rather cautious. I think there'd be a very good chance that if I were to bring in Toffoli, so we get an offer for Haan and Eakin. If I were to bring in Toffoli, there's a very good chance he would be a pure rental. He's still there, so that option is still available. We'll see if that's the case once we get to deadline day in a week's time. As, by the way, we're 1 win away from hitting 35. So that goal is accomplished. In terms of being on a good stretch to begin the year, we did it. In terms of, as Matt Philippe is injured, in terms of hitting 35 wins on the year, we have done it. Remember, by the way, actually, and the reason why I didn't bring up the Goggleman's comment at the start, you didn't list a punishment if we happen to fail the challenge. So remember to do that as well. But, ooh, Martin Nakash is out, actually, for a week or two. That's kind of rough. We'll go with Mangiapane at center because we are at deadline day as we play Tampa. Can we get the win? Yes, we can. 5-1. So 36, 22, and 5 on deadline day. Not too bad. Currently in a playoff spot and very much on pace to make it. The next closest team has 69 points in the Atlantic Division. So yeah, we're golden. We are absolutely on pace to be a playoff team right now in a very strong Metro Division. The question is, what are we dealing with here with Svechnikov in terms of goals scored? 18! Can he get 12 goals in 19 games? And would adding a player now help him get there? Damn it. Oh, it's going to be down to the wire, man. It really is. Oh, that's going to be tough. Hey, Mangiapane jumped to a fucking 76 from a 72, by the way. I'll be looking to change up the forward lines. Brossois, 932. Darling with a 913. I mean, the big question right now is whether or not we buy. Defensively, we're set, right? Like, that's the 6. We're not going with anybody else. Goaltending-wise, why add anybody? We're killing it right now. We still have way too much money tied up in Scott Darling for now, so I'm good with just running with Brossois. for the next 2 years until Darling is, leaving the team. It's just whether or not we add someone else who's considered a top 6 forward, and then we probably trade Wallmark, because I like the goal-scoring touch from Martinook, even though Wallmark's younger. We probably trade Wallmark, which means it would be, instead of Mangiapane, it'd be a deadline acquisition, and instead of Wallmark, we would have Nakash. And then the fourth line is still good, depending on the rule of whether or not somebody improves. I think I like the idea of start of the year, as long as the roster's set, you're good, because of course players are going to develop. Then obviously next year, Julien Gauthier is moving up. So Jordan Martinook's probably only here for the rest of the year anyway. He's not on an expiring deal, but he is somebody we could look to move. So I guess the big question now is who is available, what moves could we potentially make, but I really like where we are right now. So Zach Senyshyn went to Vegas for John Merrill in a 5th, Johan Larsson to Anaheim for Patrick Eaves, Blake Coleman to Ottawa for Tychonic and Borowiecki, Ty Dellandrea and a 1st to Calgary for Backlund. Jesus. Connaughton goes to New Jersey. Anders Lee to Montreal for 2 firsts and Alex Newhook. Jesus. Couple of draft picks exchanged. Jack Campbell to Calgary for Alex Petrovich. Second round, first and second rounders moved between Columbus and Washington. Brock Nelson to Vegas for a 1st and Cole Lind. TJ Oshie. I said Vegas, I meant Vancouver. TJ Oshie to Vancouver for Jet Wu in a 2nd. So, man, Vancouver's going all in. Yeah, the Rangers reacquiring Derek Stepan for a 3rd and a 4th for a 1st and a 3rd. Braden McNabb and Nick Holden to Philly for a 1st, 3rd, and Pascal Laberge. Sammy Vatanen back to Anaheim along with Carl Gunnarsson for a 1st and a 2nd. Let's take a look at who is available here. Not to mention, in terms of a player search, who we would be looking at, by the way, if we were to fail this challenge with Svechnikov, right? These are the type of players that we would be looking at. I mean, Backstrom, Crosby, that's not going to happen. We'd be looking at Stashny might even be out of it. Zuccarello, David Krejci, bringing back Eric Stahl, Parise, Pominville, Thornton, Derek Ryan, Spezza, Letestu. Very limited options, especially in terms of those who are affordable and those who wouldn't be completely useless. So we really need to beat this challenge, which is why I think a deadline acquisition is the right way to go. As it is, as long as we're cool with the idea of the beginning of the year, the roster's finalized, I still have to look to move a 2nd round pick at the very least to avoid that issue of having that be our trade down at the draft. So, here, actually, before we take a look at the block, I didn't take a look at our team stats. That's because there's a lot to cover, of course. I mean, we know Aho's leading the way with 42 points. Again, we'll take a look at the league stats as well, though you kind of would have seen it already. Svechnikov's 2nd in the team in scoring and in points. You have Tavo doing okay. I mean, we're not a massive, point-getting team. I mean, it's well-rounded in terms of the output. I mean, hell, even Stahl has 23 points. Like, there's no one on the team who's really suffering. Like, everyone's doing okay. We just don't have any big point getters. The defense is chipping in big time with Falk and Hamilton, though. And then goaltending-wise, again, it's been unreal what Laurent Brossoit has done for us this year. If we look around the league as well, Elias Pettersson is leading the league in points. Stamkos, William Nylander's up there. Kyle Palmieri, underrated goal scorer. I can appreciate that. In terms of goals right now, Sagan with 41 leading the way. Pierre-Luc Dubois has as many goals as Connor McDavid. Amongst defensemen, it's Morgan Riley, Brent Burns, Erik Karlsson, Letang leading the way. Can't exactly disagree with that. Burns on 20 goals. And for goaltenders, the winningest is Freddie Anderson. The best save percentage among starters, Laurent Brossoit. The only player to break a .930. You also have Price and Hart up there. Carter Hart right now an 85 in Season 2. Binnington's up there. Delia is up there as well. Or Delia, I guess it would be. And in terms of the rookie race, it is Philip Zadina. Jack Hughes is up there as well. It's a 2-horse race at the moment, though. Eric Bronstrom is also up there for Ottawa. So let's take a look. If we wanted to make a move, we know Tyler Toffoli's still there. If we wanted to make a move, I don't necessarily like the idea of dropping Nakash, because more than likely he's going to develop into a top 6 guy. So more than likely we're looking at a 1-year rental here, and we're having to give up a second-round pick to do it. But it could make sense. In terms of the overalls right now, and actually I'd prefer to just look at trade values, someone like a Sammy Vatanen's available, but of course that doesn't fit for us at all. We do not need a defenseman. And in terms of goaltending, I could look, and I probably will, but there's no guarantees we get anybody. So let's focus on forwards for now. The good thing is this year we really don't need to be like, oh, let's bring in a Carl Hagelin. We know that the team is set. The 4th line's good, the 3rd line's good. We don't really need a rental like a Hagelin to bump anything up. Arizona. Ooh. Wow. Fresh off of an 8-year contract extension, OEL. Now, there's obviously no way Grabner's value is actually that high. Not that we'd be looking at him anyway. Oliver Ekman-Larsson is on the block. I don't see any way we could get him unless we were to use Whitfield. There's just no way. That would take like a Hamilton and a first, a Falk and a... Well, you know, just throwing it out there. Technically, if I wanted to get OEL, we could. We'd have to trade Falk and Hamilton, who have both been very... Or Falk or Hamilton, both of whom have been very good, and a first. So it's probably not worth it. I'm just saying it's possible. And I believe he was the only real guy of interest there. Yeah, because there's no way Grabner's that good. Shit. Maybe he is. That's not bad. 43 points for Michael Grabner. We just don't know what his actual value is. 1 year left at 3.5. Or yeah, 1 year after this, so 2 years left. This season and the next at 3.5, I think it was. Grabner could work, but again, without knowing exactly how good he is, that trade value is a little bit skewed. The game would certainly tempt me into spending a little bit more. But Grabner is an option. Nobody on Boston, although the stud is on the block. Buffalo, nobody. They have the likes of Okposo, Panik, Pominville, Saboka. No thanks. Calgary, Gio, Brody, but again, we don't need that defensive help. Michael Frolik is there, but he would be a rental. Frolik? No. Probably not. Chicago, nobody that we're interested in. Bunch of prospects, Nolan Foote, Boqvist, Badan. Colorado with Mellock, couple of prospects again. Columbus, Scott Harrington's an RFA, Liam Foudy is available. Guarantee his value is higher than that. Dallas, Bobby Brink, but again, just prospects. Riley Tufte was there as well. Detroit, Mojo. No. 6 years, that's not happening. Alex Chason, though, is available. Darren Helm, I mean, I'd probably rather go for Chason. Yeah, he has 35 points this year. Grabner's an option. Chason's an option. He had 57 points last year on Edmonton. 24 goals. Chason's an option as well. Speaking of Edmonton, there's no way Sam Gagner's value is that high, of course. He has 28 points. What's the contract? Technically on an expiring deal, so someone like Gagner could work. Toby Reeder as well, with just 1 year left. Absolutely not. Florida, Denisenko and Bathgate are both prospects, which, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, yeah, getting Denisenko would be nice, but we're not selling. Although on Florida this year, he has 17 goals because creative players score like madmen. Los Angeles, Tyler Toffoli is there, has 13 goals on the year, an expiring deal. This actually makes me wonder if I've missed anybody whose trade value is listed a little bit lower than I would have expected. Could be the case just because we don't know for sure what they are. But Tyler Toffoli is still available and is certainly a bigger name than a Grabner. But Grabner right now has that higher point total. Tom Kuhnhackl also there, but he hasn't done too much. Minnesota, Spurgeon, Suter, Strawman, Jason Zucker, Eric Stahl. Zucker, though, 4 years left. Stahl with 2. And I wouldn't want to take Mikko Koivu away from Minnesota, but it's a possibility. Bringing Eric Stahl back would be great, but that would really complicate things. But he could be that playmaker. I'll be looking at Eric Stahl if we fail this challenge, I think. I don't want to preemptively get him because that wouldn't count. I couldn't just be like, well, if we failed, I brought in Eric Stahl and now we have to keep him for an extra year. Probably wouldn't do that. Montreal, Paling, I mean, would be great, but of course more of a prospect. Although, yeah, 75 overall. Nashville, Arvidsson. Victor Arvidsson just signed a new deal, didn't he? 5 years at 4.1. The point total's not worth it, though. New Jersey, Jesus. Nico Hischier and Braden Point, we can't afford them. There's nobody else there that I would want. The Islanders, CC, Brad Richardson, Matt Martin, so nobody there. The Rangers, nobody there. I mean, Jesper Fast has 11 goals, but there are better names available for us. Ottawa, you got someone like Pajot who's making $4 million because don't let your memes be dreams, apparently. Philly has Farabee. He's up to a 77 at 20 years old. Wouldn't be an option, though. Pittsburgh, Aston Reese is an RFA, so it's too late to sign him. St. Louis with Klim Kostin, he's not an option. Tampa, no options available, though. Nobody there. Cole Caulfield isn't an option. Vancouver, no. Vegas, oof. I mean, in terms of rentals, it's Eric Holla or Cody Eakin. And I'd probably rather go for Eric Holla, but he has 27 points. Eric Holla's an option. I mean, is he a better option than Grabner or Toffoli? Probably not, but he is an option. And then again, you have someone like Nick Backstrom. Lars Eller has 4 years left. So I think we know our top options at this point. It's Grabner, it's Toffoli. If we wanted to bring in that forward help to try and make sure that Svechnikov can get to where he's going to be, granted, Svechnikov is already in the best spot that he possibly could be. He'll still be on that top line next to Aho and Teravainen. It's more so the second line. Whether or not we want to bring in a Toffoli. Of course, if we do bring in somebody and they're not a center, Teravainen goes down, and we have Svechnikov, Aho, and somebody else, maybe even Justin Williams, to try and kind of bring a little bit of a defensive counterbalance to bump up their points. But there is room to bring in somebody. Again, Walmart would be the sacrifice. It's just whether or not we want to improve the team, whether or not we think this team is good enough. They've been good enough so far this year. Maybe we don't have to add anything. But the big question now, we have accomplished our first goal of hitting 35 wins. Will we stay in a playoff spot? Odds are yes. But do we add anybody at the deadline to try and give us that much better of a chance heading into the playoffs? In the next episode, we finish up the 19 remaining games of the regular season, and if it's a playoff game, if it's a playoff series, if there's a series at hand, we will sim through our first ever postseason series in this series in just our second season. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate the comments and everything. Again, don't worry about suggestions for goals next year. We'll worry about that after we finish the next off-season episode. But let me know what you think. We discussed a lot of stuff again in this episode. I'm continuing, much like I've been doing in the Finnish series, continuing to try and carve out, the rule set that works. No rule is necessarily set in stone. I'm willing to try different things, of course. It's all about finding out what works and what can make this more fun for me, more entertaining for you, more challenging overall as we head in to spring is basically here, and as we head into the summer. Because again, I don't stop with NHL throughout the year. We'll have at least another series after this one, but of course this one's just getting underway. Guys, thank you for the ridiculous support as of late. Whether or not you've been here for years at this point, which is weird to say that I've been doing this for this long, whether or not you're relatively new, happy to have you here. I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, take it easy, have a good one, and goodbye.